A gamer is nothing without their dice, which is why today's video premise is simple. I'm going to show you my collection of dice. So this right here is my dice collection, or part of it. I've got a lot of dice, and what we're looking at right now is mostly just stuff that I've got stashed inside a little dice box that I've got. Except for like these two right here. I don't usually store those in a box, but I've got this roll down D20. A friend of mine gave this to me. It was something that her ex had given to her, and she didn't want it anymore, so she let me take it. So I got a nice spin down D20, my favorite color. I like red. And I've also got some just loose, generic D20s here. Nothing too fancy about these. Most of the dice you're looking at here, I got from buying pounds of dice from ChessX. But some of these I do have a story behind them, like this roll down D20. So when I have a story for those dice, I'm gonna tell you that story. This one right here, I think this one was meant more to be like a table weight. This thing's really heavy. It's made of stone. And you can see it's chipped a little bit right there. So this thing probably doesn't roll very well, and will probably shatter a table if I were to roll anything on it. But I just found this one at a flea market. It's got a twin, but I didn't want to bother throwing it off, finding room for it on here on my floor. And this one, I've got three more of these. I'm only showing one because I didn't want to dig out the other three and find room for them. But I just found this at a dollar store, and they're like $2 in a bag, and I was like, I want a bunch of these. These are nice. I can actually roll these, and they're huge. Speaking of huge dice, got one that's a little bit smaller, and just a whole bunch of them that are a little bit bigger than your average size D6. This one right here, though, this was actually one that my brother, he was in Gatlinburg one year, and he just went to an arcade, played skee-ball a whole bunch, got a whole bunch of tickets, and didn't really know what to do with them, and there, oddly enough, wasn't any children inside the arcade, so he just bought a whole bunch of used the tickets to get a whole bunch of stuff, and this was one of the things he got, and he gave this to me. I've also got some over here, where the 6 should be, they're completely blank, and I think the story behind these is that what was supposed to happen was, well, some of the 1s are blank on these, but anyway, they had one number that was blank, and I think what was supposed to happen, it was supposed to be like these dice right here, where there was a sigil implanted in, or a sigil inscribed, where like the 6 should be or the 1 should be. But they didn't get finished like that, so you wind up with a dice that has nothing on one of its sides. So those are pretty cool. I like those. I like those a lot. So over here we got the traditional D6s that are white and bone colored, and a couple of them that are not as traditional. They're sort of a brownish gold, bronze maybe. That's what their color is. We're gonna say they're bronze. I got a whole bunch of those somehow. So for some reason, there's a lot of those just sitting around inside bags of inside 1 pound bags of dice. I, oddly enough, got a lot of matching sets from that. But before I started like collecting dice and doing a lot of gaming, this was actually something like this was pretty much the extent of my dice collection. So, like, little 7-year-old me went from this to everything I'm showing you guys right now. And I've also lost a whole lot of dice over the course of that time, so I've owned a lot of dice in my lifetime. I've got a lot of matching sets. I got some really teeny tiny ones right here. Here's like a normal sized dice for comparison. I got a lot of sized dice like that. And I've got some over here. They just don't really have much of a match. Yeah, they're kind of pretty though. And these two right here, they were in the last shot. But these right here, they're completely blank. And these are two that I actually keep in my pockets at all times. Okay, so what we got here is all my D10. This is most of my D10s. As I said, these are all just loose dice that I had lying around. Got a bunch of the percentile D10s. There's not a whole lot of games that use these, so they're honestly kind of the most worthless dice in the set. Next to the D12s, of course, because D12, once again, not a whole lot that uses those, not a whole lot of situations where you need 12 different options. And over here, I've got all my D4s. For some reason, D4s are like one of the hardest things to come by in pounds of dice. They're just one of the hardest to come by dice around, and it's just funny because they're one of the most used, especially when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, because this is what the damage from Magic Missile is, and I haven't ever seen someone that was playing as a wizard that didn't use Magic Missile. Now, this right here is actually a set that's really precious to me, because this was the first set of dice that I bought for myself. I, once again, bought it at a flea market. It came with a really nifty little crystal plastic case with it, and it also came with sort of a Grim Reaper statue inside of it. But it also had these dice, and I wanted the dice, I wanted the statue, I wanted the case. All of it was mine for like, you know, I don't even remember how much I paid for it, but I got a whole bunch of like classic math dice that were probably used in games like Dungeons and Dragons earlier before. And when I actually started getting involved for the first time in tabletop gaming, my sister, she was the one that was teaching me and my brother how to play Dungeons and Dragons. And she bought a polyhedral set for each of us. I got a blue set, my brother got a red set, and this right here is all that's left of my brother's set. The D10, the D12, and the D4. I still have most of my set, though I had to replace the D10, D20 that it came with, and I lost one of the D6s that it had, but I still have most of that set. And then there's another one. This was just one that I bought at, this one's a really tiny set, and I bought it at an anime convention from, oddly enough, one of the artists that was there. So anyways, that's all the stuff that I keep in my box of dice, which the box that I keep them all in, right here, this is an ammo box. This is an ammo box I found, once again, at a flea market. I can't really get a good shot of it in there. But this right here is just a magnetic decal. It comes right off, but that's where I store all my dice in.